All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Patriots Postgame Live, presented by Guy Boston Sports. I am your host for this season, Anastasios Kalimos, aka the Greek Freak. And football's back, guys. It's been a long time coming. Um, Patriots Dolphins Week 1 recap right here. Thank you for watching. Thank you wherever you're from YouTube, from Twitter, wherever you're watching and supporting. We appreciate it. And listen, not the bbest start to the season, but football's back. We can't be picky. We got to celebrate what we have. And I think don't overreact. I think that's the first thing right off the bat I'm going to say. Don't overreact. Was it a bad loss? Yeah, it wasn't a great loss. You know, I don't want to say it was. I mean, it was kind of on the ugly side. The thing is, there is something there, right? And I think that is the encouraging thing to take away from this game is, yeah, was it a bad loss? Were there some ugly moments? Absolutely. But I do think there was some shimmer of brightness in this game that makes me think this team will be decent. I'm definitely not, super excited about where the direction's going. I don't think we're a Super Bowl team right now, and I don't even really know if we're a playoff team. But I do not think this is a bad football team. I know the score. You might see the score and think, oh, it's the sky's falling. I do think they're going to be okay this season. It wasn't the result you want week 1, but we've always struggled in Miami. It's always been a problem. We've always had a tough time with the Dolphins. So I don't want to say it was unexpected. To be totally honest with you, I was not confident in this game. I didn't think we were going to win. Miami's a pretty good team. They stacked up in the offseason, getting Tyreek Hill, getting, all these pieces. I figured Miami was going to come out firing. Mike McDaniel's a good coach. The Dolphins are a good team. I think they're a playoff team this year. So seeing them play the way they did, again, I was not shocked to see a loss. It's unfortunate because I do think New England had opportunities in this game, and this was a winnable football game. Miami did not play their best football. They had an all right game, but this was a winnable game. First and foremost, let me talk about the offense, right? I'm not a fan of this whatever hybrid play calling scheme with Matt Patricia and Joe Judge. I think it shows already week 1. This thing's not working. It's been the talk of the preseason. It's been the talk of training camp and leading all up to this game. The chatter has been this offense is a problem. And the decision to have Matt Patricia and Joe Judge be like co-offensive coordinators, and Belichick's involved in there too, calling the plays and designing the offense. I think it's a problem. I don't like either of the choices. I don't think Joe Judge should be the offensive coordinator. He's a special teams guy. I don't think Matt Patricia should be the offensive coordinator. I think he's a defensive guy. But name one of them. That's the one thing I will say coming out of this is like they need to name somebody, whether it be, and I think it should be Joe Judge. If you're going to, out of the two of them, I'd rather Joe Judge be the coordinator instead of Matt Patricia. But you got to name somebody. I'm tired of this. It's like, and it's the whole game. That's all that was talked about in the commentators was who's calling the plays, Mac Jones, who is he going to on the sidelines, who's got the play sheets. I think it's number one, it's a distraction. First and foremost, it's a distraction because everybody is talking about this right now. It's embarrassing. It's a joke. It comes off as a joke, really, because you have this organization that's done things so well for so long, that are so organized, that are so meticulous. And I know Belichick is not a by the numbers guy. He kind of likes to do things a little unorthodox sometimes. But this to me is not working. And that showed today. I mean, I don't think this is working. I do think they need to figure out the coaching thing. Just name Joe Judge the coordinator for the season. And then next offseason, get yourself a real offensive coordinator. But for now, you got to have one guy to go to for the offense. And I think it needs to be Joe Judge. Again, with the guys you have in building, in-house, go with Joe Judge. I still don't think he's a great choice either, but he's better than Matt Patricia, in my opinion. So I think that was the big problem that you can see it already. It looks like it's a little bit messy, the play calling. It looks like the offense is not. It doesn't look in sync in rhythm in terms of the style and the play calling. But that's something that's going to have to be figured out with the coaches. I do think, like I said, they need to just name one coordinator. I think it should be Joe Judge, but even if it's Matt Patricia, just name one central coordinator. Enough with this. This guy's calling plays and this guy's calling plays, and he's got the play sheet and he's got the play sheet. No more of that stuff. Mac Jones, right? I don't think he was terrible today. I don't think he was terrible. I know a lot of people might think that he was. Obviously Patriot haters are gonna tackle him for this kind of a game. The first interception he threw early in the game, I did not think that was really I don't think it was a bad ball. I didn't think it was a bad decision. Devontae Parker, they went out and got him this offseason to be that kind of deep ball, 50-50 jump ball kind of receiver. Did it work out there? No. But like that's what we went to go get him for. That's the plays that this offense lacked in the offseason. I mean, not in the offseason, lacked last season. That's what we lacked was that big play receiver, that ability to just push the ball downfield. We didn't have that last year. So and that's why you go out and get Devontae Parker. So I don't think that was a bad decision, a bad throw. I thought it was a solid throw by Mac. It was picked off. I don't think it's on Mac necessarily. It's just, 50-50 ball. Xavier Howard made a great play, tipped it up in the air, and Javon Holland picks it off. I mean, it's, I'll take that. Those are turnovers that I'm not thrilled with them, but I'm not like, oh my God, Mac Jones, terrible throw, terrible decision. 50-50 ball, good throw, just a great play by the Dolphins defense. Tips it up in the air, Javon Holland grabs it. I'm okay with that. Like that's not something where I'm screaming at my TV for Mac Jones saying, oh my God, what did you just do? That's one that's forgivable. And for me, at least, it's a forgivable thing because I don't think that was a bad ball by Mac Jones or a bad decision. To me, honestly, in the beginning of the game, I was excited. In the first, I'd say, drive or two, but the fact that they came out throwing the football, because last season, obviously, they were run heavy and Mac was a rookie. And you could tell last season they didn't have that trust in Mac Jones yet. And so, they were running it constantly, not letting him throw often. There's so many times last season with Josh McDaniels where I was like, man, just throw the ball. Let's see some passing. Let's see Mac Jones with the ball in his hands. And it looks to me like this season we will see more passing, which I think is a good thing. It's going to take some time. Mac Jones is not a perfect quarterback. He's going to, he didn't throw a lot last season, so he's going to have to develop his game more this season. But I like the fact that they came out in that first quarter, that first drive or two, and they were throwing the football. They were being aggressive. They weren't just running the ball, 4 or 5 times in a row and then maybe one little short pass. They were actually moving the ball pretty well downfield. And then obviously he has the deep ball to Devontae that gets picked. But to me, it was a good sign in the beginning. I was actually like, wow, this is pretty good. Like they're being aggressive. They're throwing the ball down the field. It's not just Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson run. We're actually seeing them being aggressive and calling decent passing plays, getting receivers involved. And so it was a good start. Obviously, the interception changes the tide of the game. And then from that point on, it just kind of got worse and worse as the game went on. Mac, like I said, I don't think Mac Jones had a bad game necessarily. The strip sack wasn't great. He missed a couple balls. He had a couple throws that, he overthrew. I think it was Aguilar or was it Parker on a deep route. I think it was the third quarter, overthrows him. He like I said, it wasn't a perfect game. He had some balls that he missed, but overall, I'd say he had a solid day. He had a solid day. I do think there's still a problem with the wide receivers where we're not getting separation. There's a lot of times where like Mac Jones had time in the pocket, he had time to throw, and he looks around and listen, Miami's they have a great secondary, right? You have a Xavier Howard and you have guys like Javon Holland, and this is a good defensive team. So they're going to have pretty good coverage. But the fact that I felt like 75% of the time, nobody was getting open beyond 5 yards. You always have those little, dink and dunk passes, but beyond 5 yards, people weren't getting open as frequently as they needed to. And for me, that's still a problem because we have so much money invested in tight ends and wide receiver. I think New England is number 1 in the league in money spent on tight ends and wide receivers. We have the biggest payroll for that position, for those two positions. To have that much money invested and still not have guys who can create that space and get open and make those plays for Mac Jones, that's a problem for me. Makes me a little bit nervous because wide receiver has been a problem the last couple of years, and they've been dumping assets and draft picks and money, and it still doesn't seem like it's fixed. That is alarming to me personally, and that's where I saw a lot of today, where I just didn't see enough separation and enough from these receivers getting open. I do like that they were spreading the offense though. Like it wasn't just Jacoby Myers. They were trying to get Devontae Parker involved and Nelson Aguilar involved. Unfortunately, I did not see Kendrick Bourne much today, which I don't know what that was all about. We really didn't see Kendrick Bourne much at all. And speaking of Aguilar, I'm sorry. Get this guy off the team. I'm sorry. I know that might be a little harsh. I'm just so over Nelson Aguilar. That fumble in the second half, you're down 13. Like it's 13 points is not crazy to come back from. I mean, the Colts today, they were down 20-3. They came all the way back and tied it 20-20 in the fourth quarter. Like 13 points is not crazy to come back from, not in today's offenses, in today's NFL. So 13-point game, like, you get momentum, you're starting to drive down the field, and then, you make a good catch, you get a first down and you fumble. I just feel like that's Aguilar. It's always kind of been Aguilar from his Eagles days and on. It's like he makes one or two great plays and then just boneheaded mistakes, fumbles, drop passes. And I understand he probably made it the roster because of Tyquan Thornton's injury, but I really would like the Patriots to move on from Nelson Aguilar. The guy just frustrates me watching him play football. But yeah, I mean, the offensive line, couple bad penalties here and there I didn't like. I felt like they weren't really doing a great job run blocking today. I felt like the running game, obviously a couple big bursts by Harris, a couple good runs by Stevenson, but I felt like a lot of times, like on these first and second downs, they're trying to run up the middle, which last season they had a lot of success with. And I felt like today it just didn't hit the same. Like I felt like a lot of times, like, second and short or third and short, they tried running the football and it just didn't work. I mean, they were stuffing up right up the middle. So like I said, there's a lot to digest with this game. The offense, there's definitely a lot of work to be done. It was not a perfect game, and I wouldn't say it was a good game, but I do think there are some positive signs. For me, the biggest positive sign, if I'm going to take a positive from this game, is the fact that we were actually being aggressive throwing the football. It wasn't just the little short passes and the play action fakes and running the football 50 times. They were actually being aggressive, being aggressive and throwing the ball and trying to go down. I mean, Mac Jones had a couple of deep balls. Now, did he hit any of them? He hit, like, I think one deep pass later in the game. He missed a couple throws. He had the interception, obviously, in the first quarter. But at least it was an encouraging sign for me that Mac Jones was actually testing his arm. They were letting him throw. It felt like the training wheels were a little bit more off today versus what we saw last season, which I think is encouraging because as the season moves on, that's only going to get better. We're only going to see Mac Jones get more comfortable. We're going to see him throw more. We're going to see him make more of those passes. So it's encouraging for me because with Josh McDaniels, it really just felt like they handcuffed this guy his whole rookie season, not allowing him to really move the ball downfield, which is what this team needed. So I was happy personally that at least as messed up as the offseason has been, as crazy as it's been, as hectic and disorganized as it seems, the offense, at least to me, looks like it's being more aggressive throwing the football, which I think is an encouraging sign moving forward as we go through the season. Obviously, week one, it's not perfect. It's not going to be perfect. There's a lot of things that need to be worked on, but, we'll see where the offense goes. I do think there are enough bright spots in this offense that they will be fine. The coaching needs to be figured out. Like I said, the coaching situation, that needs to be figured out, but Mac Jones looked all right. And I do think the receivers will, Devontae Parker's his first game. Give him a little bit of time. Tyquan Thornton will be back. So we'll see. Ty Montgomery, I do like how they're using him as like the new James White, which is what I kind of figured they were going to keep him for. So it was good to see them utilize Montgomery. Obviously, he had the only touchdown of the game. But it was good to see that out of Ty Montgomery. And I like how they're utilizing him in the offense. So they're still doing a lot of what the typical Patriots do, but, it's not exactly what McDaniels did for the last 10 years. They are trying to push the ball downfield more and do some different things. Now onto the defense. I actually liked what I saw from the defense today. If you really think about it, they scored 7 off the strip sack, the fumble 6. So there were 7 points right there. And then, they had the field goal off the initial interception. 10 points were off of turnovers. And they scored 20 in the game. I do think the defense looked pretty good for the most part. Stopping the run still seems to be a little bit of a problem. And, I thought they did an okay job with Tyreek Hill. I mean, Kyle Duggar was a dog out there. It wasn't a bad game for the defense. I actually like what I saw. They look a lot faster, which was the goal of the offseason, right? Was to get faster, to be more aggressive, to get a little younger. The team last season, though the defense was good last year, and it's what really drove us into the playoffs, that in the run game, I do think that the defense getting younger, you saw the effects of that today. They move faster. They were actually getting pressure on Tua. They were getting to him. They were making him run out of the pocket and get uncomfortable. Kyle Duggar, he had a couple of great tackles in that game, getting to the backfield, getting these plays, making good tackles. I thought the defense played pretty well. They should have had a couple turnovers, a dropped interception here and there. A couple times they jumped for fumbles that couldn't get them. I do think the defense looks good, and I actually am encouraged because I was actually more worried about the defense coming into the season than the offense, if you can actually believe that. I actually thought the defense was going to be more of a problem because you had so many new faces. It's a really young team, a lot of guys who are unproven, who really haven't played that much. So I was a little more worried about the defense, and I do think they settled my fears because, like I said, they played really well, and obviously, you know, Bill Belichick's there. As long as he's coached the defense, you know it's going to be decent. You know you've got Gerard Mayo still coaching. Patricia's still, I know he's with the offense, but, I'm sure he's giving his 2 cents on the defense. So defensively, they actually look pretty good. Again, the turnovers on the offense were really what killed them today. Like I said, if you take away the fumble 6, that's 13 points. And again, 3 of those came off of interception. So 10 points the defense gave up straight up, 10 off of turnovers. I thought they played okay. And Miami's got a lot of firepower. Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill. This is not an easy team to defend. When you got a lot of young corners in the secondary and you're going up against Tyreek Hill and Cedric Wilson and Jalen Waddle and Mike Gesicki and Raheem Mostert and Chase Edmonds in the backfield. This is a fast team in Miami. They are a very fast team. So I think like last year's Patriots, they would have really struggled today with this team because of the speed. I don't think they could have handled that. This year's Patriots that are younger, faster, more athletic, I think you saw they did a pretty good job handling the Dolphins defense. And yes, Tyreek Hill still put up solid numbers. The Dolphins still won the game. They still scored 20 points, but I do think the score doesn't really reflect how good the defense played because I do think the defense was solid overall. One of the big things that killed us, and it's something that has to be worked on going forward, is the turnover battle, right? I mean, that to me really is what killed this game because that and obviously New England's inability to finish these drives because they get back to the offense. They actually were moving the ball pretty well. It's just once they got into Dolphin territory, these drives stalled. But the turnover battle is really what killed this because you had 2 fumbles, one from Mac Jones, one from Nelson Aguilar. You had the interception early in the game. So there's 3 turnovers by the Patriots and 0 from the Dolphins. And there were a couple times there were fumbles and they got ruled down by contact. There were a couple of drop picks. You got to capitalize on those moments because those change the game. You can't be -3 in the turnover battle and expect to win a football game. You just can't unless you're like the Bills or the Chiefs or a team that has an offense that can just score at will. You can't have 3 turnovers you can't have 3 turnovers and 0 takeaways and expect to win a football game. That's really what it comes down to. So they got to be better with the turnover battle. I mean, obviously you got to be safer with the football. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't a great showing, but I do think there's some things to look forward to. I do think that there were things in this game that we can take away moving forward and be like, okay, we got something here. I'm actually, believe it or not, I know most Patriots fans are probably freaking out and probably thinking, oh God, this is going to stink. I actually feel better about this team after today than I did coming into today because at least I did see some things that I liked. And like I said, this is not like we played the Jets and we lost to the Jets. Like the Dolphins are legitimately probably a playoff team. They have legit talent on the offense. They have speed. They have a solid defense. Like this is a playoff caliber team that we lost to today on the road in a place where we typically struggle. I do think I saw enough today that's like, all right, there's something that can happen here. There's a lot of work to be done. It's definitely not, there's a lot that needs to happen for this team to improve. But I do think, the pieces are there. It's just a matter of can we put them together and make it work. And we'll see. We're going to find out throughout the season as we go through the weeks and the games and see what happens. But, I'm not completely discouraged. It's a bad loss, not the result we wanted, but there's enough in here that I can go forward and be like, all right, I'm actually interested to see where this goes. Like I'm not cashing the over necessarily on the Patriots season win total. I'm not running to the casino to put that bet in necessarily. But I don't think this is going to be a disastrous. I don't think we're a 5-win team like some people are saying. I don't think this is, I think we can hover around 500. Playoffs kind of a long shot just because of how tough the AFC is, but there is stuff to like about this team. I do think they'll be better than at least that I thought they were going to be. I thought they were probably going to win 6 or 7 games coming into this game. After today, I think they could win 8 or 9 games, maybe 10 if things really start clicking like next week. But I think this is an 8 or 9 win team. I do think there is enough here to like moving forward. And again, there's got to be work to be done. The offense needs to figure some things out, but I do like where this team is going in terms of direction. So yeah, I like I said, not the result you want. Football is back. You want to start the season off with a win. You don't want to come off, the first game and be down in the dumps. But this is a team that's a work in progress, and that we're going to get there. That to me is where I think we are going to get there. One person wrote brutal. It was, like I said, it looked a lot worse than I thought it actually went. I don't think he was as bad as people think. The score 20-7 at first glance, you're like, holy shit, we only scored 7 points. That is bad, yes, but again, I do think like the offense at least was driving. They were actually getting into the red zone. They were getting into Dolphins territory. Finishing those drives was a problem, and that's where we have to improve going forward. But again, I do think that this offense is not as bad as at least as I thought personally. I think as most people thought. This offense can be good. Mac Jones can be, and I think is a pretty good quarterback. I think he can be even better. The offensive line, Trent Brown had a couple not great plays, a couple penalties. I think there's enough here. As long as health does not intervene, there's enough here that could get this team to 8, 9, maybe even 10 wins. And Tyquan Thornton will be back some point this season, so that'll be a big help. But, not again, I keep saying it, not the result you want week 1. You want to start off hot with a win. You want to feel good coming out the gates. I get it. I wanted the win badly. And in the first half, I thought, all right, we can actually win this game. It's not the sky's not falling. It's not the end of the world. I do think we're going to be okay. I think there's a lot that was good here that happened today that the Patriots can build off of and move forward with. And so we'll see where we go. We'll see week 2. We're on to week 2. Just like Bill Belichick always says, we're on to the next game. Can't dwell on this loss. We can only learn from it, build on it. And, we'll see where we go from here. I will be posting my podcast. First episode, a Wicked Good Patriots podcast, will be out tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. I'll be breaking down in more detail my thoughts on today's game, going through everything Patriots football from this week and previewing next week as well. So make sure to subscribe to GuyBostonSports.com. Follow us on Twitter. Subscribe on YouTube. Follow all that to catch that and more content from us. But that's all I got for you today, guys. Enjoy the rest of the kickoff Sunday and have a good rest of your weekend.